All right, welcome to the relationship show. This guy's making some errors in pursuing a woman. So, so he's 27, matched with this girl who's 27 3 weeks ago. Was she even interested in me? He said, I recently, okay, 3 weeks. He hasn't set a date. He hasn't, gotten in contact with her other than, texting or video calls. I recently sent her a text telling her I'm going to stop bothering her because she's not interested in me. Strike one. It's like, man, that just almost like reeks of just neediness and insecurity and weakness. It's like if you act like that, it's like, oh, I'm so sorry. It's almost passive aggressive. It's not being direct. It's not masculine at all. And it just comes across as weak. And what's her response going to be? Well, probably something similar to this. But she said, LOL, okay, I told you I was. I'm just not on my phone much and busy, but whatever. So you are done. I mean, at this point, you're probably done unless you basically give her space, like months of space, and she had a high level of interest. But meeting over online dating, usually there isn't that higher level of interest to start. There could be if you have a good enough profile and she's could be really looking for a relationship. Um, but most of the cases is much lower than meeting someone in person. And when you have when she has a lower level of attraction to start with, it's like your margin of error is much smaller. It's like if she drops below that threshold, if you will, of being attracted to you, if she starts from a lower point, I mean, you have a smaller margin of error versus if she has a higher level of attraction and you mess up, it's like, oh man, she might be right on the edge. And then you still might have a shot, but you have to basically do everything right from then on. She would randomly leave me hanging out mid combo and would only reply if I sent another text. Yeah, because he's probably like, what the heck's this guy doing? Like, this guy's way over pursuing. He's needy. He's coming on way too strong. And then what's he doing? He's double texting. He's like you got to give her the space to come back to you. Like, even if she gets response, that doesn't mean she's attracted to you, or response doesn't mean that, her attraction is gaining towards you. And if you're double texting her, oftentimes, even if she responds, it's almost like a way to, well, not hurt your feelings or just like get you to stop. I asked for a video call and she ignored that. Boom, failed. So it's like he gets no response. And what's he do? Instead of backing off, he pursues further. He says, I asked for a date and she ignored that. And also, I'm wondering how he's asking for these dates. I mean, chances are he's not being certain, not assuming that she will say yes, not setting definite date and times, just asking, hey, what would you like to do for a date, or something like along those lines, asking her a question instead of assuming and having plans and taking the lead. Um, I feel like she was actually interested in me. Yeah, she might have been initially, but then you text her for 3 weeks, didn't really have any outcome, if you will. You kind of just like piddled around and, it was like, what's the point of really talking if you're not going to set a date? Trying to get to know someone over text really isn't a good way to go. And then often you have to realize that women weed out guys over the phone, especially if you're doing, and there's signs of weeding out guys are if you're going to double text, if you're going to blow up and say like, why don't you like me? Like what this guy's doing. Sorry that I'm bothering you. And it's like passive aggressive stuff. Any of this stuff will, basically disqualify you. So it's like, yeah. Relationships and succeeding in relationships are more to do with really eliminating the mistakes than adding a bunch of new techniques and skills. It's like if you just clean up some of the mistakes that people make, especially with like acting out of places of fear of relationships, and that's really what a lot of times it comes down to, is like people are afraid of failing at relationships, and so they act out of this fear. And the decisions we make out of fear are almost always the wrong decisions. So again, he says, I feel like she was actually interested in me, like she said she was. So she even told her that she told him that she was interested in him. And he didn't capitalize. He probably didn't set a date right then. Didn't, yeah. She was okay. It wouldn't be so difficult to learn more about her. I mean, that's what you're trying to do. It's like you're trying to get to know her. You think that, oh, if I just become her friend first, and then she might, agree to me. It's like you just gotta find out a couple questions, like pre-qualify her if she's like cool, someone you want to be around. Then you set a date right there, and so you get her, set a date in the evening with a specific date, specific time. You ask her, hey, when are you free to get together? She gives you a day that she's free, and then you set the date with the location, time, and then lock it in. So if you get there first, get us a table. I'll do the same. Otherwise, I'll see you there. Don't do call to confirms. Don't anything like that. She says like, oh well, call me the day of to make sure that it's still good. And you say, well, if you're not, I'm a busy guy, and taking a spot in my schedule. I mean, I don't really want to do that with someone who isn't committed to, right off the bat to make a definite date with me. And so if you can't make a definite date with me, then just maybe we should do it another time. And that's when she's like, okay, fine, I'll see you there at this time. Boom, boom, boom. Then you show up, have a good time, wait 3 days, give her that space. That's what you're not really doing here, is you're not giving her any space. You're just basically like hammering her down. It's like, respond to me, like me, like me, like me, like me. That's basically what you're coming across as, instead of just like, boom, set a date, go on the date, have fun, give her that space to wonder. And her attraction builds when she wonders about you, because when she wonders, it's almost like mysterious. And when she gets that mystery, it's like she has to work and she has to put effort in. And when the more effort she really puts into a relationship, oftentimes the more attraction she has. And so you want to wait about 3 days to contact her after the date. If she contacts you, say on like the second date, then you can set a date, but set a definite date, and then just basically set one date a week for like the initial part. And then what you'll realize is she'll start chasing you and pursuing you, and she'll be the one who reaches out more and more and more, until sometimes she'll even do 100% of the pursuing. And then when she reaches out, you might say like 2 or 3 texts, but you get to the point and then you set a date for the next time you two are going to see each other. If she wants to like chit chat over the phone, it's not always the best thing, because it's like you want to get somebody in person. Like think about sales. It's like you don't want to sell somebody over like an email or a text message. It's like you want to get them in person. That way you can have all those modalities, or whatever you want to call it, like body language, tone of voice, and really can get connected and build rapport with someone. And then you can really sell them and close them and have a good time with them. And so if she's trying to chit chat over the phone, you might talk for maybe 3 texts or whatever. Um, and then say, hey, I'm pretty busy, or I got to run, can't wait to talk to you more on the date that we've already got set. And if you do that, it just builds up anticipation for when you see each other, and it makes it easier to have a good time on the date. And so you've got a lot of stuff to clean up. You've got to reduce this chasing. You got to come from a place of abundance, not fear. And that really comes from getting into your masculine presence. So you got to find a mission that you can work towards every day that really guides your decision making. And then you can be able to walk away from people and mean it. If you can do that, it's like you'll come up with things. It's like after you said it and after you give these responses, you're like, how did I come up with that? And it's like, that was awesome response. And how did I come up with that? It's because you're willing to walk away and mean it, and just automatically things will come to your head if you can adopt this mindset. And then things that come to your head are like really acts of strength and being able to, doesn't really phase you kind of attitude. And just give her that space, eliminate the chasing, and set those dates. Have a good time on the dates.